Yes guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to brand new video. This is your latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. Takara Tomiyasu has agreed a new long-term deal with Arsenal until 2028. According to Fabrizio Romano, a couple of clubs were interested in Tomiyasu, but Arsenal decided against selling in January. We'll be talking about new contracts for Jorginho and Mikel Arteta as well. Arsenal are set to spend big according to SR Collins, but they're going to have a very busy window, which might start with Jorginho signing a new deal at the club. Of course, we'll talk about some of the injury crisis at the club. Gabriel Jesus, Alexander ZINCHENKO and Thomas Partey all expected to be back within a couple of days, but Arsenal will not have them before we play in the UEFA Champions League. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Let's dive into the latest around Arsenal. Now, the biggest story comes in from Fabrizio Romano, and he says there that Arsenal have agreed a deal with Takara Tomiyasu to sign for them on a long-term deal. Now, the deal will be going until 2028. Takara Tomiyasu's deal currently was running down in 2025. So he's agreed another 3-year deal, which actually takes him to 2028. Arsenal received a couple of offers for Tomiyasu in January, a couple of loan deals, a couple of interest in from Bayern, and a couple of other clubs were interested, but Arsenal decided they don't want to sell, and the player also decided that he would love to stay at Arsenal at least for the foreseeable future. So for me, with Takara Tomiyasu, I've always said one of the best players we have at the team, one of the best players Arsenal have. Very, very versatile. I think he's one of the very best versatile players in the Premier League. He can play at right back effectively, left back effectively, and we know he's a centre back, so if you played him there, he's definitely going to be a much better influence, a much better player than he is at right back and left back as well. So Mikel Arteta, I think, has done a good job in terms of keeping him at the side, but also in terms of giving him those different roles and responsibilities in the team. I'm never worried when Benjamin White is not fully fit. I'm never worried when Alexander ZINCHENKO is never fully fit, and I'm never worried when we take on Liverpool, when we take on Manchester City, when Takara Tomiyasu is there. I know he's got the quality to deal with a lot of these quality players in the Premier League. So I'm happy that he's signing a new deal, and I'm really happy that Arsenal are not considering selling him, and they didn't consider selling him in January. For me, he's untouchable. He's one of the players that should be untouchable. He's a little bit unlucky that injuries are actually disturbing him at a very, very quick rate, and I don't want him to be an injury-prone player because his caliber and his quality, he can go to a Bayern and he can play, he can go to an Inter Milan and he will play, and then he can also go to a club like Madrid, in my opinion, and he can play. I think he's one of those down-to-earth players, down-to-earth defenders. He will do his job, and then the rest will actually sort itself out. So for me, Takara Tomiyasu staying at Arsenal is a very, very good deal. Even in the summer, we shouldn't consider selling, right? It's not all about January, because Fabrizio says that Arsenal thought he was untouchable. They considered him untouchable in January. I think even in the summer, we shouldn't consider selling Takara Tomiyasu. He's not a player to discuss a transfer out with unless he is desperate to get out, unless he tells the manager that I would love to leave. But if he wants to stay, he's one of our best players. You've got to keep him. So Takara Tomiyasu stays at Arsenal. 2028 deal done and sealed, according to Fabrizio Romano. We're just waiting for that official announcement, which is going to be coming out very, very soon. Now, in terms of new deals, Jorginho is one of the players that are going to be getting a new deal. Arsenal are apparently thinking about triggering the 12-month extension contract, contractual clause in the contract of Jorginho. Mikel Arteta is happy, Edu is happy, and everyone are happy with Jorginho. So they think giving him an extra 12 months would actually be a very, very good way of saying thank you, but also keeping an experienced part of the team and a guy with a lot of pedigree and a guy that actually brings a lot to the table, especially when you play Liverpool and you beat them 3-1 and he's man of the match, right? But with Jorginho, I'm a little bit I'm not on the wall on any side, right? I think with Jorginho, it's two-way. If Arsenal can sign Martin Zubimendi in the summer, I think you can let go of Jorginho. I think you can replace him with a younger player, a younger version of himself, a younger player who can actually do what he does, but also has that kind of longevity. But if Arsenal want to commit all their resources and funds to the attack and maybe to the defense, then there you understand. Maybe Arsenal could, spend 100 million on a forward, 100 million on a winger, probably. If we spend 200 million on our attack, then we can keep Jorginho. I don't have a problem with him. My problem is that when players get older, especially midfielders, they can give you a good season. And we saw this with Casemiro at Manchester United last campaign. He was absolutely unplayable. Best player for me at Manchester United, but also best signing last season. And then somehow he's got a big drop off this campaign. Injuries will ruin their careers. The consistency will not be there, and they will not have the legs that you want them to have in this scenario. So it's tricky for Arsenal and Jorginho. You can give him a new deal, but does that mean that you don't sign anyone in that position? Because next season, it's about winning. It's about Arsenal challenging. It's about replacing Liverpool. It's about us getting into the big shoes that Jurgen Klopp is going to be leaving behind. So with the Jorginho one, I want your thoughts there in the comment box below. But this is what I'm going to say. We have other priorities, so Jorginho can stay for another season if Arsenal are willing to spend good money and enough money on the attack. Then Jorginho can stay. Mikel Arteta is one of the other guys that are actually going to get a new deal at Arsenal. Fabrizio says that Arsenal are very sure he's going to stay. They are very confident he will sign a new deal as well. And like I said yesterday, for me, for Mikel Arteta, it's a good deal. I mean, he's a very good guy. Give him a new deal. There's no problem. But don't give it to him early. Wait until the end of the campaign. Wait until the manager has shown what exactly is in his locker. Wait until the manager can actually, show how much he is willing to motivate this team, how much he's willing to lead this team, and what his full capabilities, are actually. Last season, our last 15 games were actually horrendous. This season, are we going to see a change? Because if Arsenal can get to 90 points, which is I think we are on 49, which is 50. We are around 41 points away. 41 points. That is around 12 wins or 13 wins actually. I think it's around 13 wins, and then a draw. So out of the last 15 games, if Arsenal can get 13 wins and a draw, I'll tell you what, give the man a new contract. Even if we don't win it, if Arsenal win 13 games out of the next 15, out of the last 15, and draw one, right, that is 90 points. And maybe Liverpool win it by 92 points, or Man City win it by 97 points. Just give the guy a new deal. He's done well, right? And even if Arsenal just get to maybe 85 points like we did last campaign, or we get to 86, 87 points, I think we've done well. We've done better than last season. He deserves a new deal. So Mikel Arteta and Jorginho are also in line to get new deals at Arsenal after Takehiro Tomiyasu. So in terms of the injuries, we do have a few setbacks, but I don't think they are really very serious. Gabriel Jesus is the first one. Mikel Arteta was talking about him in his press conference after the game, and he said at the moment he's looking at a couple of days, right? We might not have him for a couple of days, but there's nothing very serious that is going to keep him for months or even rule him out for the rest of the campaign. I think with Gabriel Jesus, there is a problem, and we have to face this problem. He is a very unclinical player, a striker that is not typical of number 9s, and one guy that now can't stay fit. I think if there is any evidence that Mikel Arteta needed to further his agenda in procuring a new number 9, this is the evidence. You have a number 9 that is really good, right, at whatever he does, but then he just can't stay fit. I think with Gabriel Jesus, he might have to turn into a right winger. He might have to turn into a competitor for Bukayo Saka, because he does that. He does that very well. we just can't keep on trusting that he will start scoring goals. We just can't keep on trusting that one day he will turn into that number 9. We don't have that time, and we certainly don't have that kind of patience, and we shouldn't have that kind of patience. So for me, this is another example of why Arsenal need to sign a striker, why Arsenal need to sign a dangerous number 9, a reliable number 9, a guy who can be present for 30 games in a campaign, or even 33 games in a campaign minimum, and a guy who can actually score for you goals that win you difficult games, right? Or even win you very, very difficult points. Gabriel Jesus is not that guy. This season, 3 injuries already. 3 injuries already for Gabriel Jesus. That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound comfortable. I don't think Gabriel Jesus' injury, prone nature guarantees you a win in the Champions League. It doesn't guarantee you a trophy in the Premier League. You've got to move on from that, right? We signed him, great guy. I think he's been very vital to the way we play and very vital to our rebuild process. But it's time for Arsenal to move on. It's time for Arsenal to go and find a much better number 9, a much better player that can come in, create this kind of difference, but also, be reliable for the team, right? I really have a lot of hope in Arsenal next season. I really think that we can win the title next season, especially with Jurgen Klopp leaving and Liverpool facing that emotional drain. It's time for Arsenal to capitalize. Will Manchester City win 5 in a row? They can actually do it, right? But I would love Liverpool to win it this season, and then Arsenal to win it next season if we can't win it this season. That is my humble opinion. So get a striker. Gabriel Jesus, not bad a player, but his injury-prone nature and his lack of goals, you combine that, you don't have a number 9. You really can't compete, right? You look at Liverpool. They do have Darwin Núñez, who is very, very selfish and not really selfish, but he's very wasteful. But he's always fit and he's always there to play. At least they have that. They have options. He always gives them options because it's actually always there. Alexander ZINCHENKO is another player that I think he puts us in a very difficult position. He's one of our most important players, and you look at the first goal that we scored, he plays a very important role in that goal, because the rest of the players are playing one-touch football, right? In that first goal, the Bukayo Saka goal against Liverpool, he's the only player actually that comes down, reads the game, and finds Martin Odegaard in a very, very unusual position. So do we have to keep him? I think we really do. But he's a very injury-prone player, and maybe Arsenal have to pray that Timber comes back, and Timber can actually come back right in form and right in good shape to take over from Alexander ZINCHENKO. He's another player that suffered something against the Liverpool game, and we will be getting more information about him. However, at the moment, you also expect him to be out for a couple of days. At least he won't be available to represent Arsenal in that West Ham game. He might come back against Burnley. There is a possibility, but against West Ham, ZINCHENKO might not be around. Thomas Partey, a couple of people asking me what's happening with Thomas Partey. He will be coming back very soon. Now, he had come back to full training. He had a setback, and I don't know whether he's not healing fully, which is a little bit ridiculous in my opinion, because he's been out for a very long time, or whether it's just a problem that is going to get him off football, right? A problem that's going to force him into retirement, because if you've not played football for like how many, 4 months, 5 months, and then you hurt yourself in training, you're getting this kind of setbacks. I don't know, is Partey a wasted talent? I wouldn't go as far as saying that is a wasted talent, but I would say I think Arsenal have really missed the real ingredients in this guy. In both of the campaigns last season and this season, if Partey is fit, if Partey is on top of his game, Arsenal are different monsters. Arsenal are a very different team. So Thomas Partey coming back very soon. No worries about that one. I don't think it's going to be out for more than a week or two. So maximum 2 weeks. Zinchenko maximum 2 weeks, and Gabriel Jesus maximum around 7 days. That's what Mikel Arteta has actually told us. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. You can go and watch my latest upload on the AG channel, AG TV channel, which was formerly Cossy's Arsenal podcast. Please make sure you subscribe. Please make sure you also engage with the content on that platform, because it's all yours. And I'll see you right in the next one.